The night Grayson Hale came home, Harper felt the shift in the air before she even heard his footsteps. Their Manhattan apartment, usually silent at that hour, seemed to stiffen around her, as if the walls themselves knew something she didn't. She lay on the couch, one hand resting on her 5-month pregnant belly, listening to Grayson stumble through the doorway with the careless confidence of a man who believed he would never be caught. He smelled of a perfume she didn't own, sweet, sharp, young. Grayson muttered something about a late meeting, loosening his tie while avoiding her eyes. Harper didn't argue. She didn't even sit up. She'd spent weeks noticing the distance, the half-truths, the new shirts that weren't for her, the sudden protectiveness over his phone. She told herself pregnancy made her sensitive, emotional, easy to rattle, but tonight something inside her refused to believe his excuses. When he finally disappeared into the shower, a folded piece of paper slipped from his coat pocket and fluttered to the floor. Harper leaned forward, heart pounding in her throat. She picked it up slowly, afraid of what she might find, yet more afraid not to know. It was a farewell note. A woman's handwriting. Sharp, looping, confident. "Don't call, I've changed." Just 6 words, yet they cracked open the truth she'd tried so hard to avoid. Her vision blurred, breath shallow. But beneath the heartbreak, something else stirred. A quiet, burning certainty she had ignored for months. Because the world didn't fall apart with a scream. Sometimes it fell apart with a whisper on a crumpled page. And as Harper stared at those words, a chilling thought struck her. If the mistress had changed, what else had she left behind? Harper Lane had once believed life rewarded quiet strength. She grew up in a small coastal town in Maine, where her mother taught her that gentleness wasn't weakness and patience wasn't surrender. Those lessons followed her into adulthood, shaping her into the kind of woman who remembered birthdays, who brought homemade soup to sick coworkers, who sent handwritten thank you notes even when emails were enough. But New York had a way of testing a person's softness. At 30, Harper worked as an interior designer, trying to carve out a space in an industry obsessed with names, prestige, and spotless reputations. Her talent was undeniable, but her career had slowed the moment she became pregnant. Clients preferred someone with more availability, as if pregnancy made her fragile or unreliable. She didn't complain. She simply adjusted deadlines, worked late, and promised herself that once the baby arrived, she would rebuild everything. Her marriage, however, wasn't as easily repaired. Grayson hadn't always been distant. In the early years, he adored her, making her laugh during subway rides, leaving post-it notes on her mirror, cooking her breakfast on Saturdays even though he couldn't boil water properly. Those memories tricked her into staying hopeful long after the affection faded. When she told him she was pregnant, she expected the sparkle in his eyes to return. Instead, he became colder. The excuses multiplied. The hours got later. His affection felt mechanical, like he was checking a box rather than choosing her. Harper told herself it was stress, fear of fatherhood, pressure from the corporate world. But each night she ate dinner alone, curled up on the couch with her expanding belly. She felt the truth closing in. Grayson was slipping away, and she was too exhausted to chase him. Still, Harper wasn't helpless. She was tired, yes, heartbroken, certainly. But beneath the soft-spoken exterior was a woman who had weathered storms before. Pregnancy had not made her weaker. It had sharpened her instincts. It was why she couldn't ignore the perfume on his clothes. Why the late nights didn't add up. Why her pulse hammered when she found that note. Because something told her this betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was bigger, deeper, dangerous in ways she didn't yet understand. And the moment she looked up from that crumpled message, one thought chilled her more than the words themselves. What if Grayson's affair was only the beginning? Manhattan had a way of amplifying everything: beauty, noise, success, loneliness. Harper often wondered whether the city reflected people's lives or swallowed them whole. From the window of their apartment on West 57th Street, she could see the glittering skyline stretching toward the river, a reminder of the world she once believed she belonged in. When she first arrived in New York, she felt unstoppable. Certain she would design penthouses and boutique hotels. Certain she'd build a life filled with color and meaning. Now, the city felt colder, sharper, mirroring the distance growing inside her marriage. The Hale apartment was modern and expensive, every detail curated by Grayson to impress. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble counters, a glass dining table no one ever used. It was stylish, yes, but not warm. None of Harper's soft touches lasted long. Grayson preferred minimalism, control, and the appearance of perfection. She had learned to compromise, removing the framed sketches she loved, storing the cozy blankets her mother gave her, keeping the place exactly the way Grayson wanted so he wouldn't accuse her of clutter. The apartment reflected him, not her. She simply existed inside it. Work used to be her escape. She loved walking into job sites, imagining what a space could become. She loved transforming cold rooms into homes. But morning sickness, swollen feet, and a boss who believed pregnancy was an inconvenience forced her to take a step back. She spent more time inside the apartment, now waiting, hoping, trying not to fall apart. The city outside kept moving without her. Buses roared down the street, people rushed to offices holding lattes, delivery bikes weaved between taxis, and she watched it all from behind glass. She felt like a ghost passing through her own life, tethered to routines that no longer felt like hers. But Manhattan could also be mercilessly revealing. One overheard conversation in a cafe, one careless phone left on a counter, one taxi ride taken to the wrong building. Harper knew secrets didn't stay buried long in a city where millions lived stacked on top of one another. So as she stared out at the skyline the morning after finding that note, she sensed the world outside was about to collide with the truth inside her home. Something had already shifted, and the city, loud and unforgiving, was whispering a warning she could no longer ignore. Because somewhere out there, someone knew more about Grayson's affair than she did, and they were about to surface. The morning after discovering the note, Harper tried to move through her routine as if nothing had changed, but everything inside her felt misaligned. She brewed coffee she couldn't finish, sliced fruit she couldn't eat, and sat in silence as Grayson rushed around preparing for work. He didn't notice her swollen eyes or how tightly she held her hands together to keep them from trembling. He only commented on the mess she hadn't cleaned 2 mugs in the sink, a blanket on the couch before grabbing his briefcase and disappearing out the door. For the first time in their marriage, Harper didn't feel sadness. She felt confirmation. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. She spent the next hours pacing the apartment, the farewell note lying like a ghost on the kitchen counter. Who was the woman? How long had this been going on? And what did "I've changed" even mean? The words weren't tender or apologetic. They felt final, sharp, almost strategic. When she finally gathered the courage to check Grayson's coat pockets again, she found something else, a hotel key card tucked behind his wallet. The logo was embossed in silver. The Marina Regency, one of the most expensive boutique hotels in downtown Manhattan. Grayson had told her he was at a team dinner that night. Her heartbeat quickened as she typed the hotel name into her phone. Images filled the screen. Rooftop suites, champagne lounges, skyline views, the kind of place people didn't go alone. The kind of place where lies were wrapped in luxury. She called the hotel, her voice as steady as she could manage. "Hi, I think my husband may have left something in his room. Grayson Hale. Could you tell me?" But the receptionist cut her off politely. "I'm sorry, ma'am. We can't disclose any guest information." But Mr. Hale wasn't staying alone. Harper froze. The woman didn't need to say more. Her tone, the slight sympathy dripping behind it, said everything. Harper hung up, her lungs tightening. She walked to the living room window, pressing a hand to her belly as her baby kicked softly, almost as if sensing her distress. The city below blurred into a wash of lights and motion. She had the note. She had the key card. Now she had confirmation. Yet a strange unease grew beneath the heartbreak. Something about the hotel receptionist's tone nagged at her. It wasn't pity. It was warning. As if she knew something Harper didn't. And Harper was about to learn that Grayson's affair wasn't just a betrayal. It was a disaster waiting to explode. Harper hadn't planned to follow Grayson, not with her swollen ankles, not with the ache in her lower back, not with the awful tightness in her chest every time she thought of that note. But something stronger than fear pushed her out the door that afternoon. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was the baby kicking as if urging her to move. Or maybe Harper finally realized that ignoring the truth wouldn't save her anymore. She wrapped a scarf around her neck, grabbed her oversized coat, and took a cab downtown. The hotel keycard felt like a burning coal in her pocket. She didn't know what she expected to find. A clue? A woman? Proof, or God forbid confirmation, that the life she'd built was already gone. When the cab stopped in front of the Marina Regency, she hesitated. The building towered above her, gleaming with mirrored glass that reflected the city back at her in cruel, fractured pieces. Inside, the lobby buzzed with polished marble floors, soft jazz music, and people in tailored coats checking in with eager smiles. She was the only one standing still. Then she saw her, a woman with sleek dark hair, long legs, and a crimson coat that looked too expensive for someone her age, walking confidently through the lobby, a small leather purse swinging at her side. She chatted with the concierge, laughed lightly, and accepted a folded envelope before heading toward the elevators. Harper didn't need an introduction. She just knew. This was Elena, the mistress, the one who'd written the note. Her heart hammered painfully, but she forced herself to remain where she was. She watched as Elena pulled out her phone, smiling at something on the screen, smiling the way Harper used to smile when Grayson texted her years ago. As Elena turned, her eyes briefly met Harper's. Something flickered there: surprise, guilt, recognition. No, it was annoyance. As if Harper's presence inconvenienced her perfect afternoon. Elena strode past without a word, but Harper caught the tail end of her conversation with the concierge. Yes, Mr. Hale booked the penthouse again. But not tonight. He said he needed space, whatever that means. Space. As if Harper wasn't carrying his child. As if she wasn't waiting for him every night. As if she were a burden he'd already discarded. Her breath trembled. The baby shifted. Her eyes stung. But then, just as she reached for a railing to steady herself, she heard another voice behind her. A woman's voice. Quiet, but pointed. You shouldn't be here. Not today. Harper turned sharply. The concierge had stepped toward her, expression tight and worried. Before Harper could ask what she meant, the woman lowered her voice even further. If you're Mrs. Hale, you need to know something, and it has nothing to do with the mistress. Harper's pulse thudded in her ears as she stared at the concierge. The woman's expression carried the kind of pity that made Harper's stomach twist. She wasn't sure she was ready to hear anything more. Not when her heart already felt split open, but the words, "has nothing to do with the mistress," froze her in place. What do you mean? Harper asked, her voice small but steady. The concierge hesitated, glancing around before leaning closer. Your husband? He's been having meetings here. Not just with that woman. With men in suits, financial officers, lawyers. They've argued more than once. Loudly. Harper blinked, confused. Arguing about what? I don't know the details, the concierge said softly. But his name keeps showing up in reports. Staff have been talking. Whatever he's involved in, it isn't good. And if your name is tied to it, her chest tightened. Her name, their shared finances, their shared address, their marriage license. Are you saying, she whispered, but the woman didn't let her finish. I'm saying be careful. Harper stepped back, gripping her stomach as a sharp pain stabbed her side. Stress, she told herself. Just stress. But her legs trembled beneath her weight. The room felt too bright, the polished marble too slick under her boots. She tried to breathe, but every breath came shallow and quick. She rushed out of the hotel, the cold air hitting her lungs like ice. She walked aimlessly down the sidewalk until she reached a quiet bench near the river. The city buzzed around her horns. Chatter, distant sirens, but she sat suspended in silence as the truth sank deeper. Grayson hadn't just betrayed her emotionally. He might have dragged her into something dangerous, something illegal, something that could affect her baby. Her vision blurred. She wiped her cheeks, shocked to find tears she didn't remember shedding. For the first time since she found the note, she let herself break. Shoulders shaking, hands trembling, a low sob escaping her throat. She wasn't crying because Grayson cheated. She was crying because she finally knew she wasn't safe with him. Not emotionally, not financially, not legally. When her phone buzzed in her pocket, she thought it was Grayson. But the name on the screen made her breath hitch. Nathan Cross. Her old friend. Someone she hadn't spoken to in months. The message was short, almost hesitant. Harper, are you okay? I heard something today. Call me. Harper stared at the screen, chills rising along her arms. Nathan shouldn't have known anything. So what exactly had he heard? Harper hesitated before calling Nathan. Her fingers hovered over the screen, trembling slightly. She hadn't heard his voice in nearly a year, not since she drifted away from friends while trying to hold her marriage together. Nathan had been one of the few who noticed the change in her, the dimming light, the way she canceled plans, the way she spoke about Grayson as if she were reassuring herself instead of describing a husband. But he never pressed, never judged. He simply waited. And now he was reaching out. She finally pressed call. Nathan picked up on the second ring. Harper? His voice was warm, steady, and painfully gentle. The kind of tone that could unravel a person in seconds. She swallowed. How did you know something was wrong? There was a pause, then a quiet sigh. Because your husband's name came up in a meeting this morning, and not in a good way. Her heart clenched. Nathan, what did you hear? I'm not sure how much I can say yet, he replied carefully, but there's talk, real talk, about financial misconduct, misreported numbers, funds shifting into accounts they shouldn't be in. He hesitated before adding, and one of those accounts is under your name. Harper's breath caught. My name? Nathan. I don't handle any of Grayson's finances. I know, he said, which is exactly why this is dangerous. If he's using your name on documents or accounts, and if the company starts digging, you could get pulled into something criminal. A cold wave washed over her. So this wasn't just about infidelity. Grayson was risking her freedom, her future, her child's safety without hesitation. Nathan continued, voice tight with concern. I'm calling because I don't want you blindsided. You need to protect yourself. And Harper? I think this goes deeper than anyone realizes. Harper pressed a hand to her belly, steadying herself. The river wind whipped around her, carrying fragments of conversations from passing pedestrians, but she heard none of it. Only Nathan's voice remained clear. I can help you, he said softly. If you'll let me. Help, safety, support, words she hadn't heard sincerely in years. For the first time since the nightmare began, Harper felt something unfamiliar. A spark of hope. But before she could respond, a shadow fell across her. Someone was approaching someone she recognized instantly. Grayson. His expression was dark, unreadable, and in his hand was her phone bill. We need to talk, he said. Now. Grayson stood over Harper like a storm cloud ready to break. His jaw clenched, his eyes narrow, and his grip on the folded phone bill so tight the paper nearly tore. Harper straightened slowly, refusing to cower. Not anymore. You've been calling people, he said, voice low but sharp. Hotels. Offices. Who exactly are you talking to? Her pulse quickened, but outwardly she remained calm. I'm talking to people because you won't tell me the truth. Grayson scoffed. I don't owe you explanations for every minute of my day. You owe me honesty, she corrected quietly. His gaze flicked to her stomach, lingering in a way that made her skin crawl cold, calculating, as if her pregnancy were a complication rather than a life. You're getting emotional, he muttered. Again, I told you, stress isn't good for the baby. Harper bit back a bitter laugh. He cared about the optics of fatherhood, not the child itself. Then Grayson stepped closer, lowering his voice. Whatever rumors you've heard, it's nothing. My company is handling it. And you better not talk to anyone else. Do you understand? There it was. The threat under the silk. But something inside Harper had shifted. Maybe it was the baby kicking in protest. Maybe it was Nathan's warning echoing in her ears. Or maybe she was simply done letting fear guide her. I won't be silent, she said. Grayson froze, not expecting defiance. Not from her. Harper continued, choosing each word with intention. If you've involved my name in something illegal, I will find out, and I will protect myself and my child. His expression twisted anger, disbelief, something darker. You're making a mistake. No, she whispered, feeling her spine straighten. I'm correcting one. For the first time, Grayson looked rattled, truly rattled. He stepped back, eyes darting toward the street, as if calculating how much control he was losing. Harper had never seen him shaken. It was strangely empowering. When he finally spoke, his voice was cold enough to sting. If you think you can walk away from me, you're delusional. You don't have money, you don't have connections, you don't have anyone. But he was wrong. She wasn't alone. Her phone buzzed again. Nathan. Grayson's eyes dropped to the screen, and Harper watched his face shift from anger to something like panic. Because he recognized the name, and he knew exactly what Nathan Cross was capable of. Harper didn't answer Nathan's call right away. Grayson was still watching her, breathing hard like a man cornered by his own choices. She slipped her phone into her coat pocket and took a slow, steady breath. If he expected tears or apologies, he was going to be disappointed. "I'm going inside," she said, turning toward their building. "You're not walking away from me," Grayson snapped. But she already had. Inside the apartment, the silence felt different, no longer suffocating, but spacious. A place she could finally think. She set her keys down, hung her coat, and pressed a hand gently against her belly. The baby shifted, almost as if echoing her resolve. For years, Harper had let herself shrink for the sake of keeping peace. She had walked softer, spoken quieter, forgiven faster. But betrayal had a way of pulling back the curtain on who you really were. And underneath all that gentleness was a woman capable of rebuilding her life from ashes. She sat at the table, pulled out her laptop, and began searching for lawyers specializing in financial abuse and identity fraud. She didn't know exactly what Grayson had done, but she was done waiting for answers to come to her. She would go find them. Next, she made a list, something concrete, something grounding. Protect legal identity. Secure medical insurance before the baby comes. Gather evidence quietly. Stay connected with Nathan, he knows more than he can say. Prepare an exit plan. Seeing the words on paper steadied her. For the first time, she wasn't reacting, she was preparing. A soft knock startled her. She stood cautiously and opened the door just an inch. Mrs. Klein, their elderly neighbor, stood in the hallway holding a bag of groceries. "Sweetheart, you left these downstairs. Thought you might need them." Harper's chest warmed. She accepted the bag gratefully. "Thank you, really." Mrs. Klein squeezed her hand. "You look tired. You call me if you need help, dear." "Anything." The kindness nearly brought her to tears, not from weakness, but from remembering she wasn't invisible. She wasn't alone. After the door closed, Harper finally dialed Nathan. He answered immediately. "Harper?" Her voice didn't shake. "I'm ready to talk." "Good," he said, "because there's something you need to see, and it's about Grayson." Her breath stalled. "What is it?" Nathan exhaled deeply. "He's been forging your signature, and the documents surfaced today." Harper gripped the edge of the table as Nathan's words echoed through the phone. Forged her signature, documents surfacing, her name mixed into Grayson's web of deceit. For a long moment, she couldn't speak. She felt the baby shift beneath her ribs, as if sensing her spiraling thoughts. This wasn't infidelity anymore, it was entanglement, deliberate and dangerous. She forced her voice steady. "How many documents?" "3 that we know of," Nathan said. 2 financial statements showing transfers tied to personal accounts, and 1 company authorization form, all with your name on them. Harper ran a hand through her hair, nausea tightening her throat. "I never signed anything." "I know," Nathan said gently. "That's why I'm calling. My team saw your name pop up in the internal review. I recognized it immediately." "Harper, they're going to launch a full investigation." Her pulse pounded. "Will I be held responsible?" "Not if we move quickly." His voice hardened with resolve. "But you need legal protection today, and you need to put distance between you and Grayson." Distance. The word felt like oxygen. She heard the sincerity in Nathan's voice, the urgency, and something else. Concern. Genuine, unfiltered concern. It had been so long since someone cared without expecting anything in return that she almost forgot what it felt like. "I'll leave tonight if I have to," she said quietly. "Good," Nathan replied. "I'll arrange a car. And Harper, bring every document you have access to. We need to know exactly what he used." After the call ended, Harper stood in the middle of the apartment, the one she once believed would hold a lifetime of memories, and realized it no longer felt like home. It felt like evidence. She began gathering paperwork, bank statements, anything with her name on it. Her hands shook, but her mind was sharpened by purpose. For months, she had been drowning. Now she was swimming toward the surface. But strength didn't erase fear. A sudden noise, a door closing, made her freeze. Footsteps echoed down the hallway, heavy, familiar. Grayson was back. She shoved documents into her bag and stepped away from the table, heart racing. She didn't have time to hide what she'd found. She didn't have time to run. Grayson entered the room, eyes sweeping the space like a man hunting for something or someone. His gaze landed on her bag. Then on her trembling hands. Something dark flickered across his face. "Harper," he he said slowly. Why are you packing? Harper steadied herself, fighting the urge to step back as Grayson moved closer. She could smell the faint trace of cologne he always wore when he wanted to project confidence. But tonight, the scent mixed with something else, panic. His eyes darted from her face to her bag, to the scattered papers she hadn't had time to hide. I asked you a question, he said, voice tight. Why are you packing? Harper swallowed hard. I'm leaving for a few days. I need space. Space? He let out a humorless laugh. You don't get to disappear with my child whenever you feel dramatic, Harper. She stiffened. Our child. And this isn't drama. This is safety. His expression sharpened. Safety from what? She didn't answer. She didn't have to. His eyes flicked to the edge of a document peeking from her bag, one with his signature and hers forged beneath it. Something in his posture shifted. A subtle, dangerous awareness. So, he said slowly, you've been snooping. I've been surviving, she corrected. For a heartbeat, neither moved. The city hummed outside their window, the only witness to their unraveling. Then Grayson stepped forward. Too close, too calm. You think you can walk out of here, and what, run to someone? A friend? A lawyer? His voice dipped to a chilling softness. Nobody will believe you over me. Nobody cares about a pregnant woman with no income and no... A knock at the door cut him off. Sharp. Firm. Intentional. Grayson stiffened. Harper's pulse jumped. She wasn't expecting anyone, except... Grayson opened the door halfway, irritation radiating off him until he saw who stood there. Nathan Cross. Tall, composed, eyes like sharpened steel. Good evening, Grayson, Nathan said smoothly. I'm here for Harper. Shock cracked across Grayson's face. You? What the hell are you doing here? Nathan didn't flinch. Protecting someone you've put in danger. Harper felt her breath catch. The air in the room shifted. Nathan wasn't just a friend, he was backup. A force. A reminder that she wasn't as powerless as Grayson believed. Grayson's jaw clenched. She's not going anywhere with you. Nathan's gaze darkened. She already has somewhere to go. Grayson stepped forward, fists curling. You think you can just walk into my home and... Nathan cut him off quietly, but with unmistakable authority. No, he said, but I can walk her out. Harper felt her knees weaken, not from fear, but relief. Then Nathan looked at her, voice gentler. Harper, are you ready? Her hand hovered over her bag. And Grayson, realizing he was losing control, reached for her arm. That was the moment everything exploded. Grayson's hand clamped around Harper's arm so suddenly she gasped. It wasn't painful, but it was possessive, tight enough to remind her exactly how little he respected her boundaries. Nathan reacted instantly, stepping forward with a calmness that was somehow more intimidating than rage. Take your hand off her, Nathan said, voice low, steady. Grayson didn't move. She's my wife. I can. No, Nathan cut in. You can't. Something primal flickered in Grayson's eyes. A cornered man, desperate to keep control. Harper felt her heartbeat pounding beneath his grip. The baby shifted uneasily inside her. She tried to pull back, but he only tightened his hold. Let go, she said quietly. He ignored her. Nathan's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, placing himself between them without touching either of them. I'm not going to ask again. Grayson's expression twisted. You think you're some kind of hero? She's emotional. She's confused. She doesn't know what she's doing. Harper found her voice. I know exactly what I'm doing. Grayson whipped his head toward her, stunned by the firmness in her tone. For the first time, she didn't sound scared, she sounded done. That shook him more than anything. You're throwing everything away, he hissed. You need me. No, she breathed. I needed someone who wouldn't destroy my life. Nathan extended a hand, not touching her, just offering steadying presence. Harper, step toward me. She did. Grayson lunged as if to grab her again, but Nathan moved faster. He caught Grayson's wrist mid-air, his grip controlled but immovable. His eyes locked onto Grayson's, a silent warning more powerful than shouting. Enough, Nathan said. The tension snapped. Grayson yanked his wrist free, his face flushed with humiliation and rage. You think you can take her? He spat. She has nothing without me. Nothing. Harper lifted her chin. Then why are you so afraid of me leaving? The words hung like a blade between them. Grayson opened his mouth to reply but was cut short by a loud buzzing sound from his phone. He glanced at the screen, his face drained of color. Nathan watched him carefully. "What is it?" Grayson swallowed hard, eyes darting in disbelief. "It's the board," he whispered. "They want an emergency meeting. Tonight, they said. They've uncovered something." And Harper realized this wasn't the end of Grayson's downfall. It was the beginning. Grayson stood frozen, staring at the message on his phone as if the screen itself had betrayed him. His facade polished, arrogant, unshakable, fractured in an instant. Harper watched the panic spread across his face, starting at his eyes, tightening his jaw, stiffening his posture. She had never seen him afraid, not once, not until now. Nathan, calm as ever, folded his arms. "The board doesn't call emergency meetings for small issues." Grayson didn't answer, didn't look up. His fingers trembled slightly around the phone, a detail Harper would have missed months ago. Not today. Today, she saw everything clearly. He whispered more to himself than to them. "This can't be happening. Not now." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "Not now? Meaning not when you've already been caught?" Grayson shot him a glare, but the fear in his eyes diluted the anger. "You don't know anything." Nathan didn't bother arguing. He simply glanced at Harper, silently checking if she was all right. She nodded faintly, though her heart was racing. The baby shifted again, as if sensing the tension rippling through the room. Grayson paced, muttering under his breath. "They weren't supposed to find it yet. I still had time. I was going to fix it." Harper stepped forward slightly. "Fix what, Grayson?" He froze. She continued, her voice low but steady. "What exactly were you planning to fix before my name got dragged into it?" His jaw clenched. "You don't understand the business world. It's complicated." "No," she said. "It's criminal." He stared at her, breath unsteady. "You think you're safe just because you're leaving with him?" He jabbed a finger toward Nathan. "They'll come after you too. Your signature is on everything." Harper felt a chill crawl up her spine. But before doubt could settle, Nathan stepped beside her like a shield. "They won't touch her," he said firmly. "She didn't sign anything. And there will be proof." Grayson shook his head, pacing faster. "You don't get it. They've been digging for weeks. If they found the files tied to her name," his voice cracked, "I could lose everything." Harper met his gaze, surprisingly steady. "You should have thought of that before risking us." For a brief moment, silence filled the apartment. Then Grayson grabbed his coat and bolted toward the door. Nathan stepped forward. "Where are you going?" Grayson didn't look back. "If the board's turning on me, I'm not going down alone." He slammed the door behind him. Harper turned to Nathan, breath shallow. "What does that mean?" she whispered. Nathan's expression darkened. "It means Grayson is about to drag someone else down with him, maybe even you." Nathan didn't waste a second. As soon as the door slammed behind Grayson, he grabbed Harper's bag, slung it over his shoulder, and guided her toward the hallway. His voice was calm, but she could hear the urgency threading through every word. "We don't know who he's calling or what he's planning. We need to get you somewhere safe." Harper nodded, breath shaky. Her legs felt unsteady, but determination pushed her forward. Each step reminded her she wasn't just protecting herself, she was protecting the life inside her. They reached the elevator, descending in tense silence. When the doors opened into the lobby, the doorman glanced at them with concern. "Mrs. Hale, everything all right?" Harper hesitated, then surprised herself. "I'm not sure, but I will be." Nathan led her outside to a black car waiting at the curb. As he opened the door for her, Harper paused. The cold Manhattan air stung her cheeks, but clarity washed through her. For the first time in years, she wasn't letting Grayson dictate her next move. Inside the car, Nathan handed her a bottle of water. "I've arranged a suite for you at the Carlton House. Private, secure. My legal team will meet us there." Harper blinked. "Nathan, why are you doing all this?" His expression softened. "Because you deserve someone in your corner. Because you've been alone far too long." Then, quieter, "Because you matter." Her throat tightened, emotion rising fast. Nobody had said those words to her in years, not without conditions or expectations. As the car pulled into traffic, Nathan opened his tablet and turned the screen toward her. "This is what the board uncovered." Harper's eyes scanned the files, internal reports, flagged transactions, forged authorizations. Every document had her name typed neatly beside Grayson's. The evidence was overwhelming. She pressed a hand to her chest. If this goes public, Nathan finished for her. Grayson will blame you. He'll say you handled those accounts. He might even claim you forged the signatures, not him. Her stomach dropped. He'd do that? Nathan's jaw tightened. He's cornered. Men like him get dangerous when they're losing. Traffic slowed as they passed a luxury hotel preparing for a high-profile charity gala. Paparazzi lined the sidewalks. Women stepped out of limousines in shimmering gowns. Flashing cameras lit up the evening. Nathan glanced out the window with a calculating look. Tomorrow night, Grayson is scheduled to attend that gala. If the board moves quickly, the investigation could break that same night. Harper frowned. Why does that matter? Nathan turned to her, expression sharp. Because if this scandal surfaces while he's in public, he'll try to use you as his shield. She inhaled sharply. You think he'll drag me on stage with him or something? Nathan shook his head. No, he said quietly. I think he'll try something worse. He'll try to claim you knew everything. Harper didn't sleep that night. Even in the safety of the suite Nathan arranged, her mind replayed every warning, every forged document, every threat Grayson had thrown at her. She lay awake with one hand on her belly, whispering promises to the child who hadn't even taken a breath yet. By morning, the world outside had shifted. News outlets buzzed quietly about internal concerns at Hailtech. Analysts speculated, investors panicked, and Grayson, who once thrived on attention, was now drowning under the weight of it. Nathan arrived with breakfast and a stack of printed reports. The board moved faster than expected, he said. Tonight's gala may be the tipping point. Harper sipped a small cup of tea, trying to ignore the tightening in her chest. Meaning, he'll try to paint himself as the victim, Nathan explained. He'll try to act blindsided, and if he thinks dragging you into the spotlight can soften the blow, he won't hesitate. The thought made Harper's stomach twist. She didn't fear the cameras, she feared Grayson's desperation. Nathan leaned forward. But that also means we have an advantage. If we show up prepared, we can control the narrative. Her eyebrows rose. You want me to go to the gala? He nodded slowly, not as his wife, not as his shield, as the woman he underestimated, the one who holds the truth. The idea terrified her. But it also sparked something. Strength. Harper exhaled. What would I even do there? Nathan's gaze softened. Be seen. Be poised. Let the board know you're not complicit. And when the moment comes, we present the evidence. Her heart pounded at the thought. She had spent years shrinking so Grayson could shine. Now she would walk into a room full of power brokers and refuse to disappear. Nathan stood, opening a garment bag he'd brought with him. Inside was a gown, elegant, deep navy, simple but breathtaking. It's yours, if you want it. Harper touched the fabric, emotions rising unexpectedly. I haven't dressed up in, I can't remember how long. You deserve to feel like yourself again, Nathan said gently. She nodded, wiping a tear before it fell. Okay, I'll go. But just as she allowed herself to breathe, her phone vibrated on the table. A message from an unknown number. Come alone tonight. If you don't, everything burns. Nathan saw her expression change. What is it? Who texted? Harper's voice trembled as she handed him the phone. It was Grayson. And he wasn't asking. He was threatening. Harper stared at the message, her pulse thudding as if her heart were trying to escape her chest. Come alone tonight. If you don't, everything burns. It was a threat, but also a confession, proof that Grayson knew he was cornered, that desperation had sunk its claws into him. Nathan read the text twice, jaw tightening. He's unraveling, Nathan said. A man who thinks he still has leverage becomes dangerous. You're not going anywhere alone. Harper swallowed hard. If I don't go, he might use my name to save himself. If I do go, he might twist the story before I get a chance to speak. Nathan paused, then looked her straight in the eyes. You won't face him alone. I won't let you. His certainty steadied her more than she expected. For months, she had felt alone inside her own life, unheard, unseen. Now someone was standing beside her without hesitation. Someone who believed her. Someone who believed in her. She took a slow breath. So what do? We turn his threat against him, Nathan said. You show up just not the way he expects. He wants you isolated. Instead, you walk in strong, prepared, protected. The board already doubts him. If he tries to attack your credibility while the evidence is against him, it'll backfire. But he said, come alone. Nathan nodded. And you will technically. You'll walk through the doors alone. But I'll be inside already, and my team will be watching every second. Despite the fear twisting inside her, Harper felt something unfamiliar rising to courage. She placed a hand over her belly, whispering a silent promise. This ends tonight. Nathan offered her a steady, almost reverent smile. Yes, tonight, Grayson Hale meets consequences. As the afternoon faded into evening, Harper dressed carefully. The navy gown fit her beautifully, draping over her pregnancy in a way that made her look powerful instead of fragile. She slipped on simple heels, styled her hair, and stared at her reflection. For the first time in years, she recognized the woman looking back at her. Nathan saw it too when she stepped from the suite. Harper, you look untouchable. She felt untouchable, until her phone buzzed again. A video message. It was Grayson holding a stack of documents, some with her name clearly visible, others stamped confidential. His voice was cold. Last warning. You walk in with anyone, and I destroy everything. Harper felt the blood drain from her face. Nathan stepped closer, watching the video over her shoulder. He's bluffing, Nathan said quietly, just as the screen flashed a name no one expected. The name flashing on the screen made Harper's breath lock in her chest. Elena Brooke, her husband's mistress. The woman who'd written that cold, casual farewell note. The woman Harper had seen at the hotel, strutting through the lobby like she owned the city. But now, Elena's name wasn't attached to flirtation or scandal. It was attached to documents Grayson claimed he would burn the whole world with. Nathan's brows furrowed. Why is she involved? Harper replayed the video. Grayson held the documents up again, tapping the header aggressively. Elena Brooke witnessed everything, every signature, every transfer. If I go down, she goes down. And so do you, Harper. Her stomach dropped. The threat wasn't just criminal, it was personal. Harper steadied herself, forcing clarity through the panic. Why would he drag Elena into this? She's the one who left him. Nathan nodded slowly. Exactly. She's a liability to him now. She knows too much. A memory flashed Elena's stiff expression when Harper saw her at the hotel, the sudden annoyance, almost fear. She hadn't been avoiding Harper. She'd been avoiding the fallout. Nathan paced the suite. If Elena has knowledge of the forged documents, the board will subpoena her. And if she lies, she risks perjury. If she tells the truth, Grayson loses any leverage he thinks he has. Harper exhaled shakily. So he's threatening to expose her too. Yes, Nathan said, because cornered men burn their bridges, and sometimes their accomplices. Harper pressed a hand to her belly. I don't want her dragged into this. I don't want anyone hurt. Nathan stepped closer, voice softening. That's why you're nothing like him. Her eyes stung. Not from weakness, but from the overwhelming truth of it. A moment passed, then Nathan's tone sharpened. We need Elena, not to defend Grayson, but as evidence against him. You think she'll cooperate? Harper asked. Nathan gave a dry, humorless smile. I think she hates him enough. Harper hesitated, but she knew he was right. This wasn't about jealousy. It never had been. It was about truth. Protección. Justice. Nathan grabbed his coat. We find her before he does. Harper nodded, adrenaline rising. Where? Nathan pulled up a map on his phone. She checked into another hotel this afternoon. Under a different name. She's running. They rushed toward the door, but just as Harper reached for the handle, her phone buzzed again. A message. From Elena. 4 words that froze her blood. He's coming for me. Harper looked at Nathan. Voice barely a whisper. We're already too late. Nathan didn't hesitate. The moment Elena's message appeared, he grabbed his keys and guided Harper toward the elevator with careful urgency. We're going to her, he said. If Grayson gets to her first, he'll force her to take the fall or silence her. Harper felt her pulse pounding in her throat. Nathan, what if this is a trap? He pressed the elevator button. Then we're smarter than the trap. The ride to the lobby was agonizingly slow. Harper held her belly, rubbing gentle circles to calm the baby or herself. She wasn't sure anymore. Every instinct in her body screamed danger. But beneath the fear was something stronger. Resolve. She wasn't the same woman who once waited quietly for Grayson to come home. She was fighting now, fighting for her child, her name, her life. Outside, Nathan's car was already waiting. As they sped through Manhattan's evening rush, Harper's phone buzzed again. This time, a location pin. Sent from Elena. "She's at the Midtown Crest Hotel," Harper said. "That's only 10 minutes away." Nathan nodded. "We'll get there first." But traffic thickened suddenly. Sirens wailed somewhere behind them. Nathan swerved into a side street, eyes scanning every intersection. "He's moving fast," he muttered. "He must be terrified of what she knows." Harper swallowed. "Nathan? What exactly does she know?" He exhaled, enough to bring him down completely, and enough to clear you. The weight of that truth sank into her chest. Elena wasn't just a mistress, she was a witness Grayson could not afford to lose. Finally, they reached the hotel. Nathan hopped out first, helping Harper carefully from the car. They hurried inside, past the silent concierge desk and toward the elevators. Harper's heart raced as the numbers lit up above the doors. Elena's room was on the 9th floor. When they reached the hallway, Harper spotted a familiar red coat crumpled on the carpet outside one of the rooms. Her breath caught. "Nathan." He placed a steadying hand on her back. "Stay behind me." They approached the door slowly. It was slightly ajar. Nathan pushed it open. Inside, the room was a mess chair overturned, curtains torn halfway from the rod, a lamp shattered on the floor. Harper's stomach twisted at the sight of a makeup bag spilled across the carpet and Elena's phone lying screen down beside the bed. But no, Elena. Nathan scanned the room, jaw clenched. He was here. Harper felt the walls tilt around her. "Nathan, where is she?" Before he could answer, Harper's phone buzzed again. This time, a single sentence appeared. A location. Sent not from Elena, but from Grayson. "If you want her alive, come alone." Harper stared at the message from Grayson, her breath tightening as if the walls themselves were closing in. "If you want her alive, come alone." The words clawed at her chest. Elena might have betrayed her in ways she couldn't fully process, but no one deserved to be trapped by Grayson's desperation. Especially not a woman who unknowingly held the key to Harper's freedom. Nathan read the message over her shoulder. "He's escalating. This is the behavior of a man who's losing everything." Harper pressed a trembling hand to her belly. "I can't let him hurt her. She's the only witness who can prove I had nothing to do with the documents." Nathan nodded. "I know, but you are not going alone," he said. "I don't care what he said," Nathan interrupted, voice lowering with a fierce calm. "Grayson's power comes from isolating you. We're not giving that to him tonight." She looked up at him. Nathan wasn't just determined, he was protective in a way that made her heart ache with a strange mix of gratitude and fear. "But if he sees you, he might." "He won't see me," Nathan stepped closer. "You'll walk in. I'll be there before you, watching every exit. You won't be out of my sight for a second." Harper's throat tightened. "Nathan, what if he's dangerous?" Nathan held her gaze. "Then he'll learn tonight that you're no longer alone." For a moment, Harper couldn't speak. She didn't know what terrified her more, what Grayson might do, or how safe she felt with Nathan at her side. She drew a slow breath. "Where does he want me to go?" Nathan enlarged the location pin on the phone. An abandoned warehouse at the river docks, isolated, dimly used, the kind of place Grayson would choose when he wanted no witnesses. Harper shivered. "He wants to corner me." "Then we'll corner him instead," Nathan said. "Tonight ends everything, his threats, his manipulation, his lies." As they headed back toward the elevator, Harper caught her reflection in a polished metal panel. For a second, she didn't recognize the woman staring back. Not because she looked afraid, but because she looked resolute, strong, prepared. She realized then that her fear hadn't disappeared. It had transformed. It had become courage. Nathan opened the car door for her. "You ready?" Harper nodded. "Yes." They drove into the night, the city lights blurring past them like streaks of warning. As they neared the docks, the roads grew darker, emptier. Harper's heart thudded with every turn. Then they arrived. A single light glowed inside the warehouse, dim, eerie, waiting. Harper stepped out, breath trembling. Nathan touched her arm once. "I'm right behind you." She walked toward the door. Just as she reached it, her phone buzzed again. A new message. From Elena this time. 5 words that shattered everything. He doesn't know I'm here. Harper froze at Elena's message. He doesn't know I'm here. That meant Grayson wasn't holding her hostage. He was bluffing, scrambling for power he no longer had. Relief swept through her, followed instantly by a sharper realization. If Elena was inside the warehouse unseen, then she was hiding for a reason. A witness, a survivor, and someone who finally understood the cost of trusting the wrong man. Harper pushed open the warehouse door. A single bulb flickered overhead, casting long shadows. Grayson stood in the center, pacing, clutching a folder stuffed with papers. His hair was disheveled, his tie loosened, the polished facade cracked beyond repair. "You came," he said, breath ragged. "Good. Now we can fix this." Harper stepped forward, heart steady. "There's nothing left to fix." He held up the folder. "If you walk away tonight, I swear You'll what?" Nathan's voice echoed as he emerged from behind a stack of crates. Calm, controlled, and completely in command. Grayson stumbled backward. You weren't supposed." Harper cut him off. "You don't get to decide who protects me anymore." Then another voice trembled through the shadows. "That's right." Elena stepped out, eyes fierce despite her fear. "I'm done protecting you too." Grayson spun, horrified. "You traitor." "No," Elena said. "I'm a witness." Nathan pulled out his phone. "The board is already on the line. They'll hear the truth from all 3 of us." Panic exploded across Grayson's face. He lunged toward Harper, but Nathan stepped between them, blocking him effortlessly. Elena threw the final strike, not with violence, but with truth. "You forged her name," Elena said. "You made me watch. I stayed quiet because I was stupid. Not anymore." The folder slipped from Grayson's hands. Papers scattered like confessions across the concrete. Sirens wailed outside. Grayson sank to his knees. Harper watched him crumble, not with triumph, but with clarity. This wasn't the man she married. This was the man he had always been beneath the charm. Nathan touched her shoulder gently. "It's over," Harper exhaled, the weight of months lifting from her lungs. "Yes, it is." Police escorted Grayson out moments later. He didn't look back, not at her, not at the life he destroyed. Nathan turned to Harper. "What do you want now? Truly want?" She looked at him, at the man who protected her without asking for anything, who saw the strength she forgot she had. "I want peace," she said softly, "and a future that feels safe." Nathan smiled. "Then let's build it. Together." Harper didn't hesitate. "Yes." As they stepped out into the dawn, Harper placed a hand over her belly, feeling her child's gentle movement, a promise of new beginnings. And she realized something she wished she had known years earlier. When a woman finally chooses herself, the world can no longer break her the same way. All right, my wonderful friends, if you're still here with me after this long journey, then I know something in Harper's story touched your heart in a quiet, personal way. And maybe, just maybe, it echoed a piece of your own life too. So let's breathe for a moment, just you and me, and look at what this story is really telling us. Life will break us open sometimes, not to destroy us, but to show us what was fragile inside. As the Stoics say, the obstacle is the way. Harper's pain became her doorway to strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that's exactly what Harper did. She reclaimed her power, step by step, breath by breath. In your own life, you might be carrying heartbreak, betrayal, or fear. But remember, you are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to step out of the darkness and into your own light. Healing isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, courageous. And if this story held your hand tonight, if it made you feel seen, understood, or less alone, then stay with us. Like, share, and subscribe so these stories can keep finding the people who need them most. You matter. Your story matters. And I'm grateful you're here.